The work you do when no one's watching isn't just practice. It's actually the entire reason anyone will care later. Let me show you what I mean. Right now, you're grinding in silence, building something, learning a skill, stacking small wins that nobody sees, nobody celebrates, and honestly, nobody cares about. And that probably stings a little. You post your work and get 7 likes. You tell people about your project and they smile politely, then change the subject. You're out here working weekends while your friends are out living their best lives. And some nights, you wonder if any of this even matters. Here's what nobody tells you. That invisibility you hate so much, it's the most valuable asset you'll ever have. Let's talk about what's really happening in your head right now. You're stuck in what I call the validation trap. Every time you create something, you check for reactions, you refresh, you wait, you measure your progress by other people's attention, and when that attention doesn't come, you start questioning everything. Maybe I'm not good enough yet. Maybe this isn't worth doing. Maybe I should just quit and do what everyone else is doing. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. You're bleeding energy to an audience that doesn't exist yet. You're performing for empty seats while the real work sits there, unfinished. And the worst part, this need for validation is making you soft. It's making you safe. Because when you're worried about what people think, you don't take real risks. You don't experiment. You don't fail forward. You edit yourself before you even begin. And while you're sitting there waiting for permission, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for that breakthrough moment where suddenly everyone cares, time is passing. Real time. The kind you don't get back. Think about it. How many ideas have you shelved because you shared them too early and someone gave you that look? You know the one. That, oh, that's interesting look that translates to, I give this 3 weeks before you quit. How many projects have you abandoned because the early results didn't match your expectations? Here's what keeps me up at night, and it should keep you up too. Somewhere out there, someone with half your talent and twice your audacity is building in complete obscurity. They're not checking their stats. They're not scrolling through comments. They're just building, failing, iterating, and building again. And in 2 years, they're going to emerge with something so undeniable that the world has no choice but to pay attention. Meanwhile, if you don't change something, you'll still be here, still waiting, still wondering why nobody's watching. Wait, let me guess what you're thinking right now. But don't I need an audience to build an audience? Isn't that, like, basic marketing? Cute. Here's what you're missing. Nobody watching your grind isn't your problem. It's your laboratory. It's your training ground. It's the only time you'll ever have to be truly, dangerously, wildly experimental without consequences. Think about every artist, athlete, or entrepreneur you admire. The Michael Jordans, the Kendrick Lamars, the Sarah Blakeleys of the world. You know what they all have in common? A dark period, a chrysalis phase, years where absolutely nobody was paying attention, and they used that invisibility to become undeniable. Jordan got cut from his high school team and spent years in the gym with no audience. Kendrick was recording in his bedroom for years before anyone outside Compton knew his name. Sarah Blakely was selling fax machines door to door while secretly developing Spanx in her apartment. No cameras, no viral moments, no validation, just work. And here's the key insight that changes everything. The privacy you have right now is creating something that public success never could. It's creating genuine skill. When nobody's watching, you can fail 50 times in a day and nobody knows. You can try that weird idea. You can completely reinvent your approach. You can suck at something until you don't. You know what you can't do when everyone's watching? Literally any of that. Once you have an audience, every move is under a microscope. Every pivot looks like uncertainty. Every experiment risks your credibility. But right now, you're free. So here's what you do with this advantage. First, you stop checking. Seriously. Build in airplane mode. Create like nobody's watching because, and I cannot stress this enough, nobody is watching. Post your work, close the app, and get back to building. Measure your progress by your own skill development, not external validation. Second, use this time to take your biggest swings. Make the weird stuff. Try the approach that seems crazy. Build the thing that might not work. Because if it doesn't work and nobody saw it, did it even really fail? No, it was just expensive education. Third, and this is crucial, document everything, but don't perform everything. There's a difference. Document your real process, your actual thoughts, the messy middle. Because when people do start paying attention, they won't want the highlight reel. They'll want proof that you're real, proof that you struggled, proof that you figured it out. Here's what happens when you embrace the invisibility. 6 months from now, while everyone else is still refreshing their notifications, you'll have 6 months of focused work, uninterrupted skill development, a body of work that speaks for itself. And then something interesting happens. People start noticing, not because you begged for attention, not because you played the algorithm game perfectly, but because you built something actually worth noticing. And when they ask you how you did it, you'll have the only answer that matters. I worked when nobody was watching. So let me leave you with this. That silence you're sitting in right now, that's not emptiness. That's potential energy. That's the calm before you become inevitable. The question isn't whether anyone's watching your grind. The question is, what are you building with this freedom? Because I promise you, one day they'll be watching. And what you're doing right now in this invisible chapter is deciding whether they'll see someone who's ready or someone who's still waiting for permission. The choice is yours. Make it count.